No, don't tell him that.
So I haven't been around when there was ever a share effect. My guess it's usually around thunderstorms, that's what I've learned.
Usually, it can happen with terrain as well, just from normal winds, and it can happen with just air masses systems. So the danger is if you shear from having wind to having no wind. So then the inertia of the plane carries it forward, of course, but your indicated airspeed drops.
Right.
That's the danger. So if you're landing or taking off in that,
You can lose that lift really quick.
yeah. And if you're taking off in it, you can fly a little bit faster. The same with landing, fly a little bit faster and use less flap.
We did okay landing there, right?
Yeah, that was good. The airplane's reusable.
So, we're not going to prime because we're going to start.
Yeah.
Master switch is on. Engine's on. Prop clear.
Do I hit a button?
It's not good on the battery. It's blanked out on the screen.
Okay.
I just did it.
Oh, it just
Okay, I can hear you.
Yep, I can hear you.
Good.
You're all both loud and clear for me.
Good. Likewise.
Ups are up. Sounder is on, stand by. GPS is starting up. So we can still hear our ATIS.
3-8 Zulu. Wind 2-9er. 0 at 2-0. Peak gusts 2-8. 1-0. Sky condition clear. Temperature 2-6 Celsius. Dew point 0-6 Celsius. Altimeter 2-9er. 3. Remarks. Density altitude 3,400. Field Airport, Ellensburg, Washington. Automated weather observation 2339er Zulu. Wind 2-9er. 0 at 1-9er. Peak gust.
At least it's right down the runway, right?
That makes it easy, no gusty crosswind, just a gusty wind.
Parking brakes off.
Actually, parking brakes on.
Oh, it is.
There you go.
Brakes work.
Good.
Ellensburg area traffic. Skyhawk 9730 Victor at FBO, taxi to runway 29. Ellensburg. I think we can go around that way.
Yes, I see a sign that says 25 and 29 that way. So when I was starting out flying, I never had a good feel for the airport signage for some reason. So I had to rely on a diagram. But then once I finally broke through that and figured out how the signs work, it's great. It just tells you everything you need to know.
I have a hard time still imagining the direction, right?
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have a big imagination, like.
You have to be able to, spatial recognition, whatever it's called. Yeah, you have to be able to kind of picture how am I oriented, what if I twist it around, what's that look like?
Which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah. How am I going to enter the pattern? There it is. 25 and 29 this way. I'm grabbing the door handle just in case the wind decides to take it away.
I took my check ride at the Dalles.
Oh, really?
The winds were 10 knots, I think.
Nice.
8 to 10 knots, it wasn't bad.
for the run-up, what we're going to need to do, we'll want to face into the wind. Yeah, so we'll kind of flip it around on the taxiway, do our run-up, and then we'll turn around again.
That's a 29, right?
Correct.
Where's 25's that way, gotcha.
Yeah. Then we can just flip all the way around into the wind. Yeah, and then once we're done, we'll just continue the left turn again. Nose wheel straight. All controls. Feel that wind? Yeah, that's great. We can raise and lower the nose.
Okay. Timer is locked. And 2993. Mixture. I'm gonna put it full in for takeoff.
Okay.
Okay. Both brake set. Wind, suction's good. Turn around.
Alright. Oh, sorry. Was that a little harder than I meant? Okay, and since we're facing away from the wind, you want to hold the elevator down. Yeah.
Okay. On now.
Alright. Oh, it's the wind going backward through the prop. Makes some pretty strong vibration.
Okay, doors on, seatbelts are on, transponder.
Yeah, it's on altitude.
Went to altitude already. Okay. Landing light on. We're up. Okay, we're at 445.
Good.
Ellensburg traffic, Skyhawk 9730 Victor, departing runway 29 to the north. Ellensburg. North? West.
West.
Well, we'll cut it out.
Northwest. Alright, we cleared those ways. Oh, that's right.
Wind.
2-1. Peak gusts 2-8. Visibility 1-0. Sky condition clear. Temperature 2-6 Celsius. Dew point 0.
Alright, nobody there?
Altimeter 2-9er-3. Remarks. Density altitude 3,400. Bowers Field Airport, Ellensburg,
Go on number one,
Washington.
so toggle that off. There you go. Okay, center line. Hey, power set. Gauges are green. Airspeed's already alive.
Wenatchee traffic, horizon 64 is a dash 817 to the west, inbound for straight in landing, runway 12. Any traffic advised, Wenatchee.
Alright, nice.
keep climbing until we get to 8500, huh?
Yeah, so we'll just climb on course. And yeah, that direction. Used to be an army airfield.
Yeah, I was gonna see that. We're doing 80 in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're doing about 70 knots airspeed, and then about 50 knots ground speed. So yeah, we have about 20 knots of wind right now. I expect as we get higher, it'll taper off again. But we'll find out.
Alright. Seattle Radio, Skyhawk 9730 Victor.
November 9730 Victor, Seattle Radio, go ahead.
November 9730 Victor, would like to open our VFR flight plan to Renton.
And Cessna 30 Victor, flight plan activated, pilot ports requested for additional weather. Contact Flight Watch 122.0, monitor Ellensburg automated weather current altimeter. Today.
Roger that, thanks. 30 Victor.
Alright.
Somebody fell out of the sky.
Good. We'll be good neighbors. We want to listen for and help people if required. Alright, so same principles apply of climb up before going over terrain, and right now we're fine. We got low terrain that we're kind of following up. But
If the hills were larger or, taller here on this side, would I just like to try to circle around while I'm climbing?
yeah, you might do that. Like, for example, if we were going to be going over that way, straight over those hills, we could kind of climb on course, but then we might do 45 degrees over and 45 degrees off course, so that it gives us more room to climb. And then, yeah, if you're going over something that's really big, then you could just circle straight up and climb. Or, yeah. Climb in the circle and then head over once you're above it. As long as you can climb on course, as long as you have the ability to turn around if you need. So for example, I would not want to climb up that valley over there, because then you can't turn around, and if you can't outclimb it, well, that's a bad day.
All those steep times we'll learn how we can do that.
Well, you could. If you had to, I would, yeah. Also do a high yo-yo, kind of, although we don't have much power available, but
What's a yo-yo?
it's kind of a steep turn, but it also incorporates a vertical element to it. So it starts at wings level, pitching up, and then over, and then back down as you come down the other way. It was a way to, instead of using horizontal space for turning room, you use vertical space for turning room, but we're so slow with so little power, it's kind of hard to do in a 172. Wenatchee's like
On the other side of the hills.
yeah. I've never ever flown into Wenatchee. I've flown over it once, but only once, like 5 years ago.
Next week, actually, there's a group of Tri-City pilots that kind of go first Saturday of the month to a breakfast somewhere.
Oh yeah?
They're going to Lake Chelan, which is even further up north.
Nice. That would be fun.
So I took a flight to the Dells before blow my check ride just to see what the airport is. You know, my instructor signed off, and so I was kind of following, you know, same direct line across all the farm fields, and but once you get close to the gorge, right, you get all the windmills. And so once I crossed that gorge, you know, the ridge, you could tell the wind change.
Oh yeah.
Slowed me down so much.
I did a flight to Hood River once, and it was coming back. We climbed up and then kind of head out over the gorge, and it was so unbelievably turbulent. And we had this, it must have been a 40-knot wind or something. Our ground speed was almost nothing. I think it was in this plane, or maybe 46 Victor, but yeah, that was exciting. So we kind of climbed up and then continued out over the higher terrain once we got above it. But oh man, yeah, the gorge is just such a funnel for the wind. Incredible. I guess that's why it's the windsurfing capital of the world, but...
So Diane said when I talked to her last time, she wants us to cross the shortest possible way and obviously not go, you know, to the Dalles direct.
Oh, yeah. Like if you were to do it when you go to Richland, you mean, or?
Yeah, if I go to Richland, I'll probably just fly to the VOR here and then go past that Yakima bombing range.
Yeah.
And go back on the backside of it, but it's pretty straight that way.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But so, like, is this the corridor she wants us to use, or is there other spots?
Probably this one. It makes the most sense because it's the lowest terrain, and also you have the freeway along it. That's how I like to fly when I come across the mountains. Yeah.
Or do you go south to Portland and then cross across the gorge?
And do that too. Yeah. Really, what I'm looking at when I'm planning a flight like that is trying to find. So, what route can I take to keep me over the lower terrain as possible? You know, you could go over those, but so yeah. So staying over here gives you low terrain. Also, the gorge gives low terrain. The difficulty with the gorge, well, if you do it eastbound, that works pretty well because then you have a tailwind. But coming back westbound, it would take forever, and it's turbulent. So normally the gorge it's safe but uncomfortable is generally how that works out.
There's not much north from here, right? That's just all wilderness, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. There's Highway 2, but it wouldn't really work as a landing area, so it would work as if you had an emergency, somebody could get an ambulance on Highway 2 and get at least close to you, but it's not the best. So whenever possible, I like to come across via Snoqualmie Pass and I-90.
That's pretty uneventful.
Yeah. Yeah, it works really well. I have done a flight in Renton up to Electric City, which is by Grand Coulee Dam. And that was with Bernie, and we did it basically GPS direct, and it takes us over
All those ridges.
all of those, yeah. And it's doable as long as you're careful and go well above it. And we were way up there. We were at, I think, 11,500 going over. Because 9,500 is not quite enough. Because those stick up pretty high. And that was on a nice hot summer day, summer morning. It was early in the morning. I think we left about sunrise, so we were into the sun. It was still relatively cool, so there wasn't much in the way of cloud buildup yet, because there weren't many thermals, bringing the moisture up.
The temperature's really not changing much.
The exhaust gas temperature? Yeah. It won't change much until we get a pretty good drop in the RPM, or drop in the power available. But we're doing pretty well. The wind has died off, or rather our true airspeed has picked up also.
clouds are going away.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, yesterday I was on the way home from work and it was, you know, kind of like a little bit, not too much. Maybe kind of like that. And about an hour later they were, you know, just towering. That anvil shape, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The classical thunderstorm cloud. I'm like, oh no, we're not going to go if it's like that.
Fortunately, it worked out well today. I love just watching, like from the air you can see all these kinds of things you can't see from roads. All these neat little places. I have to admit, a fair percentage of flights when I'm acting as the instructor, I'm looking around at roads trying to find things that would be great for motorcycling later.
This whole area would be great for motorcycling.
Yeah.
Nobody's in your way.
Might be a little too much fun. I love that loop. Up Highway 2 and then 97, which comes out down by KELN. Beautiful.
I don't think we've ever went up there.
It's great. Highway 97 is a surprisingly nice road. I always wondered what it looks like from the air, too, because I've never flown it, you know, I'm always flying on this corridor. Maybe we will have a significantly lower ground speed coming back. Because on the way over we're showing about up to 110 knots, which is about what our true airspeed would be. But, oh well. Not at the moment. We have about 10 knots of wind. Do you have your E6B flight calculator, flight computer thing on you? Awesome, thank you. I'm gonna figure out what a true airspeed would be. So, our temperature, what are we at? Call it 10. 10. And our pressure altitude, I'll call it 8,000. Just for when we're up there, so we're positive 10 to 8,000. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So right there. So then, indicated, call it 80s, so our true airspeed's about 90, yeah, so it's about 10 knots different right now. So, 15 knots, I suppose. Or 20 knots. Yeah. No. Well, it's windier. We'll see what happens once we level off and accelerate a little bit. I'll do it again. And if I do the true course, we can calculate our wind. Although, that requires a little more planning, but...
Yeah, but we're heading, if it's the same as on the ground, right, we're heading right into the wind.
Yeah.
The 90.
And usually, it'll come more from the right the lower you go, so it'll come from the left the higher you go. Which, well, I don't know, the winds aloft were calling from northwest, so it should still be about the same, though. And Yakima, the forecast for Yakima's wind at 6,000 was calm, which is weird. Then about 5 to 10 knots for Seattle and Yakima for that direction. I guess we'll find out.
I don't think I'm climbing anymore.
Yeah, not a whole lot. So we pitched for 75. Because the higher we go, VY will decrease. And it'll decrease, well, it depends, but approximately 5 miles per hour per 5,000 feet, or, 1 mile per hour per 1,000 feet. So if we fly at about, yeah, between 75 and 80 should be about right. Although, on the other hand, might be about what we'll get. Oh, there's not enough air in here.
to 8,500 when we went to the coast. And there was 3 of us in the plane. This plane.
Let's see, I'm gonna mess with this a little bit. Mild increase in power. Okay, so that's definitely a decrease. Okay, well, right about there, I guess. Well, going back into kind of mountain flying mode, since we're very barely climbing, I'm just kind of looking ahead and seeing, well, yeah, we're still good. We don't have any terrain coming up that we can't go around. That's funny though, our ground speed's still 60.
We're getting close to less wind up here.
Once we level off, we'll see what the wind is at. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock now. Okay. So even at this rate, 56 knots, how far are we from Renton?
Probably about 60.
Type it in. And yeah, that's probably about right.
1 hour. If we keep climbing.
Nice. About 60. Yeah, so I guess I don't even need this. At this rate it would be an hour. But we will speed up once we level up.
Alright, we're there.
And then, probably just leave the throttle full, probably like 2600 RPM or so. Because that'll be, can't remember exactly, but
75% or so.
yeah, that'd be close to it. And on a standard day, 75% power at 5,000 feet is 2600. I guess today actually that'd be a little more than 2600. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna call it positive 4, and we're at 8,500 feet. So, oops, positive 4, at 8,500, so there's 9, there's 8, 85, there's positive 5 at 8,500. And their indicated airspeed's gonna be 100 miles per hour, so going about 90 knots. Whoops, I moved it. 90, so we're doing about 105, 104. Okay, so at 104,
89.
90, so we got about 15 knots or so. And then 90 for 55 is 37 minutes. Cool. And since we're here, let's make sure we go through the leaning procedure. So lean that mixture out until the engine gets a decrease in RPM, and we'll find the peak EGT. There it is.
Yep.
So we'll look at the EGT right where it is there. And we'll then you can enrich it. But where the temperature at which peak occurs is going to depend on the power setting as well as the altitude. So it'll be a little bit different each time.
So there's our photo basically.
Good. Yeah, you can kind of see where Mount Si is. Oh, there's the town of Roslyn, I think. Wait, which one is it? It's that one, isn't it?
We passed KLN already.
Yeah, it's back there.
A waterfall out here? KLN?
Hey, what was that?
Is there a waterfall out here?
Oh,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, no. Oh, you're like, Roslyn, so I used to know a couple people who lived out there. I think it's that one. Alright. And then once again, as we're getting toward the mountain peaks, we're going to get either updrafts or thermals. Could be updrafts considering the wind that we're seeing.
Nobody's flying around, huh? You'd think people would be crossing here.
Yeah, I always wonder how much, you know, how many of them we'd actually see and how many we just wouldn't see. Oh, we can turn off our landing lane.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Line checklist.
Well, it looks like our temperature climbed a little bit.
Oh yeah. Let's give it a swipe inward, yeah. We'll enrich it a little bit.
Felt a little rough too.
Yeah. Better to be on the excessively rich than excessively lean. The reason for that, so if we get too lean, then we get up toward the peak EGT, peak exhaust gas temperature, which will be fairly close to the peak temperature inside the cylinder. So that's, you know, putting the most temperature strain on the engine and the valves. And then the other reason too, if we lean too far lean, the way these engines work is each cylinder doesn't necessarily get exactly the same mixture just because of the airflow in the induction system. So as you lean it, you'll have one cylinder reaches its peak and then starts losing power before the others do. And so that's going to cause vibration because now you have uneven pushing on the crankshaft and then all the bearings and connecting rods and everything. So the danger there is if you feel rough running engine, then you're putting extra strain on the engine because of that vibration. So it's better to be slightly richer than you mean because then each cylinder is still at roughly the same power. So if you graph it kind of as you lean, the power gradually decreases and it decreases faster and faster. And so if we're on the rich side, we're still up here with it. It's fairly flat. Yeah. So they should all be about even.
Well, I don't think Seattle's still there.
It's cool.
Doesn't see anything.
You can sort of see where that haze layer ends. there.
So we hit a 6,000 foot right, fueling first.
Correct. That's going to be, yeah, it's a few miles after Mount Si. So what we could do, well actually planning ahead, just looking where the clouds are.
We'll probably go down right after that ridge, huh?
Yeah, that would be perfect. I think I can add one thing also to crossing a ridge. So the ridges here are fairly irregular, but if you have a fairly straight ridge,
Like that one?
yeah,
The tall peaks kind of...
yeah, like they're a pretty regular ridge there. When you cross those, as best you can, you want to cross it at a 45-degree angle rather than 90 degrees. The reason being, if you get into really turbulent conditions or really bad downdrafts on the other side, then if you cross it at 90 degrees, you have a pretty long turn to get back around.
45, you're already halfway there, basically, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good compromise, so you can go either direction pretty easily.
You don't try to fly right between the peaks.
Well, you could. Usually that would be where you find the turbulence. And again, most of the ridges around here, I mean, everything's so irregular because of the way the mountains were built up. But you get some places like, actually oddly enough, the mountains out by Yellowstone are like this, but there are a lot of big straight, tall ridges. And especially if the flat side is on the upwind side, then that'll give you really good updrafts. So when you cross that, you want to make sure that you're at an angle to it. I still vividly remember when I was doing private training out over there. I was on, I think, my first dual cross country over there, and we were flying kind of near this ridge, and we were just below the top of it. And I asked my instructor, can we fly close to it? He was like, well, yes, but we're going to expect turbulence. And I figured, how bad could it possibly be? And so we got probably about half a mile away from basically this cliff face.
Oh, close.
And it was just crazy turbulent, yeah. But he was laughing at me when I was like, oh my gosh, turning away from it.
Isn't it like the thermals, like he's just throwing you around?
Yeah, it was like really, really strong turbulence. And so the plane's just all over and we're sort of strapped down as hard as we can. We were only in it for a little bit because it scared me, and so I turned away from it. I think he was chuckling. But it was a very vivid learning experience. Don't get close to cliffs. I've always remembered that.
So there's our, Snoqualmie.
Good. That's our airport.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like we picked up speed too, huh?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we only have 10 knots, maybe a wind.
So, within 110 miles an hour, right? I guess it just picks up for you.
Yeah, and then you got the little part of the scale there is the knots. So we're indicating 90 to 100.
Yeah, about 95.
So then figuring our true airspeed is actually about 10 knots faster than that. We're about 105-ish. Yeah, that's about right. Then we have less wind. There we go. So, in this case, we got a gap in the terrain and the clouds, so I'm fine with once we clear this peak right in front of us, we can descend through that, and that's okay. But otherwise, if you were coming across here, if we didn't have that gap in the clouds, then we'd have a choice. Do you descend below the clouds but get close to the terrain, or do you try to stay above the clouds and, well, play with the airspace? So, if we didn't have the gap here, I would say we'd stay above the clouds, because that keeps us above everything, and we know for sure we're clear of things that could hurt us.
We just don't know if we can find a hole further down, huh?
Right. So,
Maybe called flight watch.
Yeah, we can see if some places are reporting clear and we can work our way up over there. Or worst case, then we can always turn around. We know it's fine back this way. But that way we're avoiding getting into a situation where if we get down low, we might not be able to climb out of the valleys. No, yeah. That's ultimately what we want to avoid. We want to avoid getting into a situation that we cannot get out of. And as we see with our climb performance, climbing is not really an option to get out of a situation.
Look it on the right, deal. Deep Pass is over this way, right?
Yeah.
I think it's this valley here.
Does it have a road associated with it? I can't remember.
It does, I just don't know what it is.
Okay. Because Highway 410 is Chinook.
Yeah, I think that's it right here, right?
And that's Chinook Pass.
I think that's 12. I think that's the Highway 12 that goes to Yakima, right?
Yeah, it's 410 and then it becomes Highway 12, like there, I think, or something. But then, I can't remember which one that is.
Oh, maybe that's it right here.
Yeah.
I don't know what highway that is.
Huh. Yeah, me either, actually. Because that's right, because it's right where it, like, breaks off of I-90.
Elevation 0019er Zulu. Wind 310 at 09er. Peak gusts 19er. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature Celsius. Dew point 04 Celsius. Altimeter.
There you go. Oh yeah. It's clear in that one hole right above it.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Alright. Look at that snow down below. That's awesome.
It's cool, you can see all the tracks in it. I wonder if that's from little avalanches, like snowballs running down as it melts.
We all know it's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot lives! Totally hiding out here in the Cascades. Someday we'll be flying over here and we'll see a black figure walking along. We'll be like, wait a minute.
On the snow.
Yeah.
A whole family of them.
Alrighty.
Just bring your mixture in. And what we can do, we can even go mixture full rich right now. Because all that's going to do, it means we're running excessively rich. So we'll burn a little extra fuel, but at this point that won't be measurable. The only other thing it does is it makes it so the maximum power we can produce is less, but we're descending, so we don't need it.
Trees look pretty small from here. This ridge, I know the pass is like 3,000 feet. This ridge is probably another 1,500 above it, or 2,000.
Probably, yeah. At this point, since if there's not a peak marked on it, then you'd have to just kind of estimate based on the the lines. Topographic lines, that's what they're called. So, some of the peaks, 4824, that valley. Okay, yeah, so 5584 is one ridge, one peak, one there. So it's that peak right there.
Okay, yeah. About the same. Yeah, 5,000. 3,500.
So in this case, with mountain flying, of course, flying through this valley, you know, I would say that's just fine because it's opening up to lower terrain and wider terrain. Just the things to watch out for then are how the winds are going to be moving from peak to peak.
So if the wind's moving that way, we want to be on the left side, huh?
Yeah, because that'll put us on the upwind side.
But suppose the guy coming the other way.
True. But we're descending and they're climbing probably, so hopefully we'll miss each other in the altitude. And really we should be, you know, the valley's wide enough. We shouldn't have trouble with oncoming aircraft. If you do fly in a valley which is small enough that you'd have to worry about space to pass each other, you probably shouldn't be in it anyway. So
6,000 and 5,000 and then 3,000.
okay, good.
Should be we gotta get below 6,000.
Yeah, oh, we should have no problem. I think this will work out just fine. And then the clouds, as long as we're, what is it, 2,000 feet horizontal, so about half a mile.
We're probably more than that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't judge the distance for the...
I know, it's hard. I always think in terms of Renton's runway, because that's 1 mile, but that only works if I'm, you know,
on the ground, right?
It on the ground, yeah. So from the air,
it looks close, but it's probably not that close.
yeah. If I'm 2,000 feet up, going 110 miles an hour, does the ground move by that quickly? Yeah, so that's about right.
Yeah, look here on the left.
Very pretty.
Oh, it's so cool. I've had this wish, I want to get into wilderness hiking, because I fly by these peaks all the time, and every time I go by or motorcycle past one, I think, I want to walk up to the top of that. I want to go to the top of that peak. But I need to start doing, like, actual trail hiking first.
I don't know, 10 years or maybe a little more. We went Crater Lake, right? There's Mount Scott that's like 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
Walked to the top of that, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. The Crater Lake is, I think, 6,000 feet, so you're like 3,000 feet above it. Wow. And it looks pretty small, really, you know. Whoa. Like it's all in front of you. That was before I could fly, you know, now it's like,
Now you can just fly over it. I've looked at doing flights down toward Reno. There's Carson City, Nevada is kind of down by there. And my dad does stuff with that, so I've wanted to, the two of us want to fly down there. And every time I look at the route, I say, yep, I want to go over Crater Lake. Yeah, it's almost a straight shot.
It's worth doing. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's been years since I've been there. I was a little kid the last time I was there. It was by car.
You can't always get up there. Roads are bad in the wintertime, and wintertime lasts a long, long time there.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I know that Renton is on the other side of that peak right there.
Yeah.
We know the winds come from the north. Would we want to take... I guess, I mean, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
We could take...
We certainly could.
Victoria arrival and just go around, or we can kind of cut across here and do a Lake Young's arrival.
Yeah, and either way, I mean, we're below the Bravo already. If we cut over now, we're still high enough. We kind of skirt the edge of the ridge. Yeah, your choice. Either way. Okay. So this is a ridge, which is fairly linear. So crossing that, then you'd want to do it about a 45-degree angle.
Well,
however, yeah, if you kind of go down by where that peak is on the southeast side. And then we'll just kind of be mindful as we're descending, we're getting down toward the level of that ridge, and we're downwind of it, so it might get a little bumpy, but it's not that windy out here.
Highway 10 goes probably on the other side of that. Right?
Is it? Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, because it goes up.
Yeah, up and over that.
I should know this.
Yeah, this tunnel.
Goes, where are we? Oh, there's Highway 18.
So there's this lake right here, right in front of us.
We're looking at it like that. We got Rattlesnake Lake. Right? Yeah, there's Mount Side.
Right here, right in front of me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
the
then
Rattlesnake Lake
oval shape
is right there. So then, this first mountain stuff is this one. The second one is that one. And Highway 18 cuts between. So the second one, you can kind of see the gap down there. The Highway 18 goes over there.
That's the Rattlesnake Lake, right?
And that's actually Henson Reservoir.
Oh, is there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Chester Morse Lake. Henson Reservoir is further south. So Chester Morse Lake is kind of the watershed reservoir that serves this whole area, and it actually drains right near Rattlesnake Lake.
Okay. Yep.
And there should be the town of Cedar Falls.
There's a dam right there.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, the spillway's open. And then Snoqualmie, North Bend.
Yep. Yep, my crew did some practice over here.
Oh yeah?
One time we flew over the falls.
Nice. I like that.
City.
It wasn't until I started flying when I realized why North Bend is called North Bend. It's because where the river bends north.
Oh,
Like, oh, right. It makes perfect sense now. You can see it too. Right there, the river, we're just about lined up with it, a little bit of it just to the east of Mount Side and south of it.
alright, we're at 4,500 and we're still not at...
There we go. Now we're getting into it. Partially that's going to be because of thermal heating as well.
If we lost an engine now, not good, huh?
Not many options are there.
Trees.
Oh, they're not as soft as they look.
There's that field right there with no trees. It's got stumps and stuff, so it would hurt, but not as much as the forest would. Oops. Open air just a tiny bit. There we go. Then coming up pretty soon, we've got a lake. Well, there's not really much shoreline, is it? I bet we could glide. You see where the power lines are? There's kind of where the
opening there, yeah.
Yeah, we could glide to that just barely. Well, yeah, we'd have enough to glide and then make a landing going. Right now we got that lake, and then there's this little thin road that we're kind of lined up with that goes that way. I was doing simulated engine failure practice with a student, and so I was, of course, looking down at the ground too, and found, oh, that road looks cool. Went out then on one of my weekends, found it with my sidecar bike. Scouting.
Oh.
There's this neighborhood right up here, which is cool. It's just like a neighborhood of houses in the middle of nothing. I always thought that was kind of neat.
Alright, so that's gotta be our Lake Youngs.
Yeah.
We're at 15 miles. Other than that one time when we went for our checkout ride, I've never gone this way yet.
Oh. Oh yeah, to like this whole area?
Right to the... past Airfield, right?
Yep, that's right. way down there. And then, well, you can see it just kind of forming this nice big bowl.
On my 3-4, taxi Delta.
How come we can hear both?
Channel 7 Tango Delta, say direction of flight.
The ground and the tower.
Because she's doing both, and so when she transmits, it transmits on both of her frequencies.
Thanks for your help.
But then the aircraft are only on either frequency, so we'll only hear whichever aircraft are on our frequency.
Well, that way we know when she's stalking, because she's the only one up there.
Exactly, yeah.
There's some smoke coming up, can't tell which way it's going.
Oh yeah.
November 37 Quebec, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 9537 Quebec.
34, Cessna conductive Romeo.
Romeo.
Print information Romeo 2353, Google observation, wind 3406, weather 75005. Temperature 23 dew.09, altimeter 3002. Airfield mowing in progress. Notice airman Renton NDB out of service. Non-standard runway marking on the north end. Expect visual approach runway 34, Cessna conductive Romeo.
Romeo. Hold on. 609 for Foxtrot. Okay, we're getting under the 5,000 shelf here.
Good.
And next one is 3,000, so is that Crest Airfield S36?
Yeah, up the roof.
That traffic right there, off to your shoulder, shiny.
Oh, I see something shiny.
Yep.
It might be a building. Hard to say though.
Please check the approved, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Runway 34, clear to take off. Skyhawk 9, Foxtrot, left flight via southeast departure.
November 94 Foxtrot, roger, southeast, check approved.
Here's 18 as it goes up through the, through there.
I'm just gonna fly towards Lake Camden, make a right?
Perfect, yeah.
Somewhere we gotta have a valley here with that golf course.
Yeah.
Airport.
And what we can do, we'll want to call in when we're still a few miles, like 3 or 4 miles east of Lake Oaks. That way we call in, you know, far enough away from where the airspace begins.
What about now?
Well,
Close. Across the highway.
yeah, maybe once we're across the highway, then we can do it.
Contact scheduled departure, have a good flight.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to call in early.
37 Quebec. Thank you. So we are 10 miles to the southeast.
November 613, Victor Renton.
Yeah.
That's going to go also southeast bound, southeast departure approved, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
We got 34, southeast departure. We'll stop at 2500.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's a plane ahead of us over here. Right over there, right? Oh, up there, 10 o'clock. Ground contact.
Is it? Alright. Is it above the highway?
I can't tell. No, it's just over that way.
Oh, okay.
7 o'clock, baby. Renton ground. You see it? Take me on tower, 124.7.
One thing we can do a turn of about 30 degrees, and that way we'll get some relative motion by changing our direction.
Alpha.
That might make it easier to find.
Young's departure number 2. Number 9631 Romeo Renton ground, runway 34, taxi via Bravo, Bureau non-request. It is going away from us, about the same speed we're going. Number 9631 Romeo Renton ground, runway 34, taxi via Bravo, Bureau non-request. Staying the same distance away. You don't see it yet?
I think I see something that looks like that. There's a shining light, actually 2 lights just up and to the right of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a feature on the ground.
Oh, don't it look like a plane?
It does. I think it's a Tacoma Dome, actually.
Number 31 Romeo, runway 34, taxi via Bravo.
I don't see anything.
You just watch the road.
Alright, let's call in. Front tower, Skyhawk 90730 Victor, 8 miles southeast at 2,500 inbound, Lake Cam's arrival. With Romeo.
November 5344 Kilo, make eastbound departure, runway 34, clear for takeoff. November 734 Golf Charlie, written tower, hold short. 704 Golf Charlie, holding short.
We'll wait for her to call us. We have until the...
November 9631 Romeo, Renton ground, runway 34, taxi via Bravo.
We got to this spot here, right?
Yeah. The far corner.
Bureau non-request.
Tower, Skyhawk 9730 Victor, just east of Lake Sion's, inbound for landing with Romeo.
730 Victor, entire make Lake Young's arrival.
Lake Sion's arrival, 30 Victor.
Number 205 written down to make 34 taxi via Alpha, say direct shot flight again.
There's the airport.
Thank you. Enter full box Charlie, make Lake Young's departure on my 34 clear takeoff.
So, they're departing, they should stay to the...
Yeah, and right about here is good on heading. So, basically it's just right of downtown Seattle, left of the Whitewater Tower. We got two Whitewater Towers, but the Whitewater Tower.
Inbound with Romeo to land.
44896 written tower, make factory arrival, you at 2100.
2100 currently, 44896.
Landing light on. Still descending.
Over 94 Foxtrot traffic on the east side of Lake Young's northwest bound Cessna 2200.
Let's look for that traffic, counter full Foxtrot.
November 29 Victor, same traffic for you.
29 Victor, copy.
I got one of them.
There's two of them over here. Number 30 Victor, traffic 2 miles off your left southbound Cessna 1006. There's one right next to us, out there, and there's one a little bit to the front.
Okay.
Negative traffic, 30 Victor.
29 Victor, we got the traffic over east, Lake Young's side.
There's one right there. November 904 Foxtrot, have a good day.
Okay, good. I got it.
904 Foxtrot, good day.
He's way out of the way.
November 904 first aircraft, no factor, second one has you in sight. Should be your 10 o'clock, 2 miles, 2,400. One's going down.
30 Victor.
Number 30 Victor, thank you.
Alright, so the golf course is...
Kind of right where the highway bends slightly, you can see a couple of the sand traps and some water. The water has to... It works out really well if we're at 1,500 as we cross it.
External 17 go Delta traffic just off the departure and will eventually be southeastbound. Make eastbound departure on my 34 clear for takeoff.
Here's the takeoff, 34, 7 Tango Delta, eastbound departure.
Busy out there today. There's another one heading out that way up high.
Yeah. Yeah, it can get so busy sometimes.
Oh, look at this. 29 Victor, have a good flight.
Good day, 29 Victor,
By the way, it's fun going over the mountains. It's kind of like we have the area to ourselves most of the time.
Yeah, all of the time.
All of the time. Good. And then, we're going to report, actually, yeah, we can report. We're at the golf course.
Tower 30 Victor is over Maplewood Golf Course.
November 30 Victor, Roger. Continued direct numbers are my 34 cleared to land. Traffic approach in midfield southeastbound Cessna 1000.
Clear to land 34, looking for traffic, 30 Victor.
November 4 Golf Charlie, go ahead and start a southeast turn traffic over the golf course and down
I got him at downtown Seattle right at the horizon right there.
Full Golf Charlie, turning in
fly shot.
4 Golf Charlie, thank you.
She wants me to go fly straight for the numbers.
Yeah, well, for now.
November 4 Kilo traffic 1 o'clock 2 miles southbound 1600 Warrior.
What we can do, we're straight to the numbers for now, but now that we're kind of inside of 405, we can make our normal base.
And
Try it again, 124.7 please. 4896 traffic 1 o'clock 1 mile northbound 1700.
let's get fuel both extra straight.
November 4 Golf Charlie, thank you. Resume O navigation.
Tower, travel air 900. We're doing 100, so let's slow down a bit.
Yeah.
We don't want this.
Actually, full per kilo, yeah, you're still on ground frequency
Get your power back.
1.6. Any way you could switch it around?
Get your power back to 15.
Oh, back.
November 4 kilo, Roger. Got you on the right frequency now. Have a safe flight. Thank you.
So I'd say we're really high. So pull your power to idle and dump all your flaps.
4634 for 31 Romeo.
And 31 Romeo, hold short.
Holding short, 31 Romeo.
Thank you.
Good.
Right, 4896, continue southbound along 405 and right down to Fort Midfield.
4896, continue southbound on 405, report midfield. 4896.
November 30 Victor, and my 34 clear to land.
34 clear to land, 30 Victor.
I think she already cleared us, but yeah. Better double check than not. Alright, gears down. So, this will work out. We're carrying a little extra speed, but we got tons of flaps and we'll be able to bleed it off once we get down next to the runway, so looking good. And then keep working it. Make sure you're looking at the end of the runway. There you go.
External 7 Tango Delta traffic over Mid Lakes Mammoth Southwest on 1600 and 1900.
Renton Tower, Skycatcher 52165 over Mid Mammoth, inbound landing with information Romeo.
November 52165, Renton Tower, ident, make factory arrival.
Ident, make factory arrival, 52165.
November 31 Romeo, right down with departure approved, or my 34 clear for takeoff.
She didn't give us instructions for ground yet.
Downwind departure,
Right.
431 Romeo, and clear for takeoff, thanks.
4896, or my 34 clear to land.
My 34 clear to land. Oh, wait, just a moment.
November 30 Victor, taxi 2, parking Alpha 1 underground, 0.6, have a good day.
Taxi to parking to 1.6, good day. 30 Victor.
Charlie, have a good flight.
Fog off Charlie, thank you.
November 165, traffic about a mile off your right, west of 1,500, additional traffic in your 1 o'clock, 2 miles northeast on 1,200.
Nice. So there we go. And look, it was another 1.1. Might end up being actually a 1.2 just once
November
we're
165,
done.
November 165, traffic ahead and to your left, northeast on 1,300, about a mile.
Anybody flying to Pilatus?
I want to, that'd be fun.
November 165, Charlie Renton Tower.
It's funny, I always go back and forth between thinking those are
November 0,
awkward looking and really pretty.
Really pretty. 002,
Yeah.
traffic 2 miles off the west southbound Cessna 1,800 for the runway. November 0, Charlie Roger. Let's go ahead and let her come in first. Make a right 360 to follow her.
We'll just take this spot? Or is that a spot?
That's not a spot, we'll go in.
November 165, southbound traffic about a mile off the right,
46
1,500, making a right 362, following behind you.
Good.
Thank you.
There we go, that'll work right there.
Hey. Avionics up.
Got a little less there.
Yep. Love it. Experiment. Always.